see something here. Okay, let's see. Looks good. Yes, looks good. I've been trying to figure this one out. Let's get the headphones set in real quickly. That way you guys can actually close the door. And I close the door. You reached on. Okay. All right. Let me see. I'm gonna tag somebody in here because I want them to join the conversation and just let them know I alerted them. You know, it's something that's very important that needs to be said because all right, something that's very important that needs to be said that a lot of people need to understand. And let me see if I can see myself on here. See if it shows if I'm live. It should, so all right, let's see. Okay, maybe not. But we'll do it. We'll see what we got. All right. We'll see if my good pal here is going to pop up because it's very important to get this clarification of what happened. Because what a lot of people don't understand is, unfortunately, yes, I identify with the Black experience. What's the Black experience? The Black experience, man, there's so many different things, but for the most part, it's an experience of always being looked down upon, not really receiving the opportunities, not that you deserve it, but just a fair shot, right? A fair opportunity of being able to present your idea or to get your point across, type of deal. There were some gentlemen the other day that had a podcast, a 7-hour podcast. And within like the 2-hour and 40-minute mark, I was invited over to the podcast and I just stayed in a chat. And one of the guys named Dr. Evil was saying how he was giving me my props about how like I said, how I infiltrated Walmart, right? And what he was trying to let his other counterparts on the show know who aren't Black was that the way I went about doing it was the unconventional route. The conventional route of getting a product inside of Walmart is submitting your idea or going to a retail firm for the retail firm to submit your idea to a buyer at Walmart. I jumped the line by approaching a Walmart executive, which again, it's a no-no to not have an appointment with someone that you don't know who the buyer is. So a part of the conversation had something along the lines to deal with, are Black people oppressed? Yes, there are some Black people that are oppressed. Am I oppressed? No. Am I conquered? No. I can't focus on racism when, in a roundabout way, I have a vision to complete. I have dreams to aspire to. I have bills to pay. I can't sit back and think, hey, you know, I'm oppressed. I can't think that way. Let's see if I could get him in here. I want to invite you in. Can you request to come in, Lutch? I want to have this conversation with you. So I want to clarify some things because there's a guy named Lutch. I've been on his podcast multiple times. Very, very impressed with what he's doing because I am a lover of books. I love literature. But here's one thing too. I also respect doctors, and his father's a doctor, and his dad mentioned something about me not being as smart as I think I am. And I just have a little problem when people think I'm not as smart as I think I am. I'm extremely smart. I'm not too smart for my own good, but I'm extremely smart and strategic. And everything that I do, I end up accomplishing. However, when you talk about the different ethnicities of people and how they could succeed in life, not all of us have the same experience and or opportunities. I think that's the biggest thing a lot of people have to understand is a part of the conversation was inherit oppression. Well, I didn't create the world. Let's see. I didn't create the world, and I'm gonna invite you. Right? Is it gonna let me do it? Invite. It says It says that you're unable to join. Oh, accept. Yes, here we go. I didn't create the world, therefore I can't necessarily say that I inherit any oppression. Lutch, how you doing?
Good, good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. This won't be long, but one thing um I'm familiar with your father because I'm real like research with doctors, and I wasn't too for sure because I've heard about your dad before, just in research and reading the articles or whatever.
Hmm.
But I wanted I wanted to clip the podcast that you guys did the other day because I was proud of what the guy was saying because he was coming from a place of being black, right? Which
Mhm.
it's a code in there between black men and women. There is a lingo in there that a lot of people tend to overlook. Part of the reason I thought a lot of people were proud of me when it comes to Walmart is because one, in the meeting, they do not have a lot of black children's books inside of their stores worldwide. And to be a black person, not that I focused on that, but to be a black person getting a product in there, there's not a lot of black products in Walmart in general, or even Target, if you will, because that's the reason why Target pushed that $1 billion initiative by saying, hey, we want 500 black owned and operated. That's the key. Black owned and operated businesses to submit their ideas, which I did. I submitted 2 of my companies. And here's the criteria. In the corporate world of big box retail, there's a lack of black opportunity because of the categories in which they want people to be in. Like, for example, with Target, they want you to have a black beauty product, but there's a requirement to that. You have to be black owned, which means the trademark, copyright, right? That you own that, right?
Mhm.
The operation is, are you literally the person packaging your product, or are you sourced with manufacturers that we deal with already? That knocks out so many black people right out the gate. Because when you're not, I'm a black owned business, and some of my businesses are operated by other entities. They prefer for you to be black owned and operated so they can like toot their horn by saying, hey, this is the company that we helped out. So when you guys were talking on the podcast and he was referring to um, the black experience, the part I got from it was, I'm not oppressed, right? I can't sit there and think that, oh, I'm oppressed and nobody wants to give me a chance. And that's not where I was coming from. I knew that my daughter's face wasn't a primary image commercial wise
Mhm.
inside that store. So for me to get in there, trust me, the trajectory of our company and who I was with them shot through the roof. So granted, yeah, your father was correct. I didn't inherit any oppression, and I'm not struggling by no means of the stretch of the imagination. But there are other black people who do struggle with the opportunity.
Absolutely. And just to clarify where he is coming from, he and I have had, as well as Anna Root and Dr. Evil and I have had discussions around specifically critical race theory praxis things being taught in schools. And so, I'm personally very against that type of messaging. But it's often made out to seem like, oh, you don't want to teach the real history of America. You want to whitewash America. And it's like, absolutely not. There are atrocities that have gone on against the black community, which absolutely have ripple effects to today. When I was talking with Dr. Evil, Dr. Evil Genius, my point was really, okay, like those things are real. What do you do about that? Do you just throw your hands up and say, well, I'm black and black people are this and that and white people got that and that? Or do you like, okay, it sucks. We do have the odds stacked against us, but I'm not just gonna sit here and do nothing. Like I still gotta, and there are people like yourself, like Dr. Evil Genius, like so many others who are making it work. And the specific example that that Anirudh brought up was the black sounding names on job applications.
Okay.
And so Dr. Evil Genius got very emotional at my response, saying that, like, yes, racist people exist, and even people with unconscious that aren't racists, aren't quote unquote racist. You wouldn't call them racist. They may unconsciously have the bias at looking between Kyle and Darshaun and pick Kyle, just not even thinking about race, which is still a form of oppression. And I completely, I accept that and all of it. I would never, say anything against that. However, that doesn't mean that this person said no to Darshaun for whatever reason, whether they like the other guy better or because they don't like black people or anything in between. There are still other jobs to apply to. That doesn't make it okay what the person did, but you as an individual trying to find your way through the world, it should be at least, if not comforting, somewhat. It should somewhat make the conversation, the situation a little bit better. That we are in a world where those racist people are less and less.
Yeah.
At least that's the way that it seems from my perspective as a non-white, non-black person of color. Immigrant parents, that whole deal.
Right. No, so I understand where everybody is coming from. You gave a great analogy with the resume. I never had a problem with my resume when it came to my name. I've always been told that part of the reason why a lot of people called me back was because my name was unique. Go figure, right? But
which is its own thing.
Right. But when the thing that the key word that I looked at, what you guys were talking about, especially at Anirudh, like the reason why we would probably have somewhat of a debate is that, yes, black people for however many years have been oppressed. But if I sit back and focus on that, going into any situation thinking that, well, nobody's not going to give me an opportunity because I'm black, well, I already lost.
Exactly.
Part of the reason I had to go approach Walmart the way I did, and that's not the only company I've done that with, is because through email and phone calls, people can turn you down just without even reading through the whole thing. And I had already been through that. I was like, man, these people are not responding back to me. So I'm going to show up, and I'm going to show up and basically kind of force my way through and be like, no, listen, you got to hear from me. You got to see this. I got a good product. That's what that was about.
And I think I definitely, when you told me that, I saw that as tenacity within you as a person.
Yeah.
Anirudh and Dr. Evil Genius were saying, no, you had to go that way because they wouldn't accept you the other way because you're black. And I mean, we don't know what could have happened the other way. And then on the other side, someone like my dad would say, well, yeah, anybody who goes the extra mile is going to get reap the benefits from it. Mm-hmm. Whereas I can see that there is the situation isn't exactly the same for a white person and a black person, and that you might have more of a need to go the non-traditional route, especially now that you've pointed it out to me. I certainly understand that, and my dad would as well. But I think the what he is really harping on is this idea that we have to treat people as if they are in this group, and this group is this way, and that group is that way, and the white people are the oppressors, and the black people are oppressed, and this, and it is that way. And because of the things that have made things unequal, things are unequal, but that is different than saying there is now current and explicit oppression to the same degree. And I just disagree that it is out there in the same way that it has been in the past.
Yeah. And so I now I understand where everybody's coming from, but a part of my experience, or a part of my experience along with the Black community goes from, okay, well, once you secure the bag for 70 plus years, okay, what kind of complaining can I do now? You see what I'm saying? It's like, hey, listen, man, they gave me an opportunity, but they didn't give me, I've always said this on plenty of my podcasts. They didn't give me an opportunity because I was handsome and I had a good idea. They gave me an opportunity because they seen how much money I was making, and they was like, hey, we're going to give you a chance. But the biggest thing was my negotiating. That was a good deal for them. They had, but see, what a lot of people don't understand too is that although it probably did have something to do with me being Black and they needed to add more Black people to their roster, the plan that I had to succeed with the books and the merchandise, they were like, okay, this is different because typically we deal with companies like Sony and Warner Brothers that already push product inside the stores because they have a movie. But right. You plan on coming out with this and you're connected with this manufacturer. Okay, we're going to give you an opportunity. Let's see what you do with the books. And you got to imagine for like 5 years, I was just selling books. The merchandise didn't come until like last year sometime. But I pushed away from the merchandise because I was like, okay, I can't afford for somebody to buy all of my stuff and then want to return it. I was like, I can't do that. It was safer for me to do the books because I'm like, okay, what kind of person would you be if you return a children's book? You're an evil person. Talking about Dr. Evil, that's an evil parent, But again, I want to clarify. I just want to clarify. And I guess I can't say this enough, and I know that's not exactly what everybody's saying. I'm not oppressed, and I can't go into any situation thinking that, okay, what happened to my people in the past, I got to I got to sock it to the white man. It's like, no, man, I got a bill to pay, and I got this idea, and here's the incentive for you. How can we make this work between us? And then if you like it, okay, I just got paid. Now I can pay my bill. That's what it had everything to do with,
So let me ask you, might be a little bit of a difficult question because, again, I was disappointed in my dad when so easily he was ready to, hold you in such high regard, and then a slight change in political opinion, and now you're gonna. It's the same way I was like the same way he looks at me for being an atheist, and it's like, hey, come on, guy, like the whole thing is that we need to be coming together, and so, but he brought up the idea of Black guilt, and I want to get your opinion on this just because I don't know one way or the other, and it almost seems like there potentially is a notion from successful Black people that feels like that where you feel like because of your race specifically, that you weren't supposed to make it, and now that you made it, well, you made it, but everybody else can't, and there's a guilt and a necessity to include other people. I have a follow-up, but what's your thoughts on that?
Okay. So for one, I don't have Black guilt. But I understand the notion of it. Okay. When my wife, she hates when I even hint around how much money we possibly could have because it endangers our family. Like, for a prime example, somebody saw me out and about. They say, "Oh, that's where you live." I told my wife, I said, "We got to move." Right. and I think I've said this too, I like for people to be successful because it keeps me from looking over my shoulder
Mhm.
with anyone, not just a black person, anyone. If you're doing good, if I can help you do good, despite our color, same race, whatever, if I can help you do good, it keeps me from looking over my shoulder because when you see what I have, you might want to take what I have, but I worked for what I have. I negotiated for what I have. So I understand black guilt. I don't feel guilty if another black person isn't inside of Walmart. I know the procedures. The
Right.
procedures are built for companies that are connected for distribution and manufacturing. And in most cases, most black people, if you will, men and women, they're not connected where they have an operation system. I'm okay. I'll put it to you like this. I had to go partner up with the printing press to prove to Walmart that I could sell 100,000 copies of a book. So now I'm black owned and operated because I partnered up with a commercial printing press that does business with them already. And I say, I'm part owner in that. So, oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, we know them. Oh. So it's that type of opportunity where people don't understand that I put myself in a position to where I'm not trying to separate myself from black people. I just so happen to be black, and this is what my goal was.
Right. 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 And
And
yeah, good.
And so I don't have black guilt because if that's the case, I might as well be guilty and look at anybody who's in my family who can't pay their bills and say, well, hey, since I made it, hey guys, don't worry about it. I'll pay your bills and I'll just figure out how to become rich again. That's not how money works, especially if you
Right.
made it for yourself. My business plan was for three people. My wife, myself, and my daughter. I didn't plan out to say, "Hey, my mom, my dad, I got five brothers." I didn't plan everything for them. I wasn't sitting there thinking
Absolutely.
that. I know for a fact I have at least 300 people in my family that are on my dad's side, my mom's side. I wasn't thinking, "Hey guys, when I get this deal with Walmart and Barnes and Nobles and Target and Amazon, hey man, we all made it." It was like, nah, I was trying to figure out how to take care of my girl 18 years from now. And I found out what Sam Walton did with some of the banks, which I have a very exclusive deal with banks that's a whole nother business. But I read Sam Walton's book and I said, you know what? I'm gonna do what Sam Walton did, give Walmart the same sort of contract that they've been giving to other people, and I'm gonna be secure for like 100 years. That was all I did. I wasn't thinking about, hey, I'm gonna do this for the black generation, or I was like, no, I was trying to take care of my family. Do you know what it feels like? And listen, my daughter, she watched the clip. I told her, excuse the curse words that you guys were using, but do you know what it feels like to go to sleep and wake up and knowing that people are talking about you, but in a good way? My daughter almost cried when she noticed that Dr. Evil was giving me props on taking care of my business and doing what I had to do so I can secure her future. That's a great feeling to know that when I wake up in this house, I go, well, what would I like to do today? I'm gonna check on all my shipping and stuff, make sure everybody get their orders, but I'm not worried about, or my mind isn't going to the guilty experience of what's happening with black people. I have no control over that. I'm not better than
Exactly.
nobody, but
Exactly.
at the same time, I can't wake up every day and night thinking that, oh man, it's another black person getting killed today. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's like.
Absolutely, and it came across, and maybe I don't have, I'm not super articulate in terms of when it comes to the black experience. So I was asking questions because I want to learn, I want to understand, and I came to, throughout the discussion, I came to like it's seeming like Dr. Evil Genius was saying, well, yeah, he is successful, and you, Darshaun, are successful, but overall, black people can't really do things in America. And I'm like,
Mm.
that is that what you're saying? He's like, no, 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 of course not. And I'm like, well, okay, then what's the issue with my position that you are successful, you should be proud of that, and if somebody else isn't successful because they made bad choices, that race may be a part of it, but there's so much more to it that to pin it on race is hurting you more than it's helping you.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a wrong way to look at it?
No, 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 no. It's not that. You know what? I'll put it to you like this, because I'm not gonna be on that bougie stuff as a black person because I finally got some money. But what a lot of black people want people to acknowledge is that, hey, man, the odds are stacked against us. People don't look at us fairly. We tend to have to work a little harder than somebody else, and it's solely because most of the corporate world understands that some black people who come into their business establishment do not have the resources to continue business.
Mhm.
Like, and the only reason I can stand on that is because when Target reached out to me and they say, hey, join us for the 500 company, black owners operated $1 billion initiative. And when you look through the terms and conditions, you go, oh, I'm not connected the way other people are. There's a Most of these companies that supply their products to Walmart and whatever, these companies are manufactured over there in China.
Right.
But Target and Walmart say, well, hey, we want to do a US made type of product. And when you try to get products made in the US, it's just real difficult. So as a black person, they know that you're not connected like that. They know that you're removed from the situation. So when black people think about their opportunity to get into business, and the first thing that they think of is that the white man is holding them down. Okay, the white man is holding us down based off the fact that we don't have the right resources to continue doing business because there's a return policy on this stuff. So it's so many different factors.
Right.
It comes off with a lot of black people that it's a personal issue, right? Yes, I have been looked upon as less than. I can't focus on that because if I do, again, like I said earlier, I already lost.
Right. Exactly.
Now,
And
but I understand coming up from about 16, I'm in the world where I have to compete against not only what I look like, what I sound like, how I articulate, what's my educational background, what can I provide, what's my incentive towards the world, what can I provide. I'm already competing against that. Then when I go against my counterpart, and my counterpart is more established than me just based off of, I don't know, he probably inherited some money from his grandfather that, his family was, 200 years ahead of mine. And my family just came here like 70 years ago. It's like, okay, I'm competing against so many different things just the day I was born. And I can't sit up here and I can't, I will not sit up here and neglect the fact that black people, yeah, we do go through something.
sure.
Part of the main reason why I wanted to get inside of Walmart, and I want to make this very clear for especially for your dad and Dr. Evil, was because yes, I noticed that there wasn't black children's books inside the store, but I also know that there are not over 100 black companies inside of that store in general. So
Right.
when you look at when you get inside there, because I'm inside as a supplier, when you see how many other ethnicities are in there, you go, oh, it's not that black people don't have a chance, it's that we're not connected. That's just what you're not connected. And again, to kind of go back to the guilty part, I don't feel guilty that I got in there and got connected.
Nor
Listen,
should you.
I had to move from the state of Florida to the state of Arkansas to pursue my opportunity. There's not a lot of people that's going to take their family and go there. So what I'm doing is different, and a lot of these conversations I stay away from because I think that's the genius part of what a part of me is that I understand what everybody's going through. I just don't harp on it. I don't
Exactly.
sit there and I won't have a conversation. I just wanted to clarify with you, but I wouldn't have a conversation with you by saying, "Hey, man, black people are oppressed, man," and that's what it is. And you go, wait a minute, man. You're looking at all the NBA players, all the NFL players. Like these guys are my friends. I see them doing things. I'm like, where's the oppression at? Oh, he's talking about some black people are oppressed, but not all of us. Not all of us are oppressed, and nor should we be. But yes, there is something there because I did a video called "They See Me as a monkey in a suit." There are some white people that I was in a perfect example, and I'm gonna let you come in. I went to a retail firm to push our children's bed sheets more inside of Walmart because I realized that they have less return on bed sheets. Because my whole thing is I'm trying to keep the money. I don't want to give it back. I'm trying to keep
That's
it.
smart. That's
Well,
smart.
that retail firm in a roundabout way, the guy brought up a joke about being a monkey in the suit, and I was like, "What the what?" And so I was like, I'm not going to do business with you guys. I'm like, well, no, I'm good. So I do a video and I go, they view me as a monkey in a suit. Like, it's all right, that's cute, kid. You got a good idea, but yeah, we don't see you coming to the finish line. And it's like,
Mm.
yeah, but I was doing here are my numbers towards, such and such. And they're like, yeah, but we deal with people who do like 5 million in a month. And I'm like, okay. All right. I said, well, I'll talk to you guys some other time. But that was my polite way of saying like, yeah, screw you guys. You
Yeah.
know, So I hope that clarifies. I know it's that black and white conversation shit, man, is hard to have.
It's hard, and that's why I want to, and that's why I want to have it, and that's why when I'm in the conversation with Dr. Evil Genius and Anirudh, who are telling me that that all of these things, I want to push back against the things that they're saying that I don't like, and then when my dad comes in and he has his opinions that I don't agree with those, I want to push back on that too, because I don't like when people act as if they've got it figured out when
Mm-hmm.
it's such a multifaceted thing that, just a short time ago, it was very different. And it continues to be in a process of change.
Mm-hmm.
And, I tried to change it away, bring it away from the race thing by bringing it to dating, because Dr. Evil Genius is also very into the red pill manosphere stuff. So I was like, look, I'm 5'4".
Yeah.
I can sit here and cry about the fact that statistically 97% of all women find me invisible. That's still true, and that is the odds stacked against me. Full stop. Okay, now what?
You're right.
Am I supposed to try to lobby for society to see short people differently, or do I just move understanding those obstacles and how I have to overcome them as an individual person?
Right.
Which goes to the I think the heart of the disagreement on the stream was the individualist versus the collectivist mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them seem to claim that the numbers are behind them, that it's the community that makes the individual and not the other way around. And I simply disagree that a community is made up of individuals. And
Yeah.
like Dr. Jordan Peterson, clean your room. You're trying to fix the economy and you haven't even made your bed. It's like, if you can, there's things you can control, there's things you can't control. You can't control the person who's going to pick Kyle over Darshaun. You can't
Right.
control the person who's going to, be overtly racist and say things like that. That doesn't make them right or good or non-existent. And I was very clear to say that that was not at all what I was saying. And the question was just about what do you do with that? And I think you've really cleared up that you and I kind of fall on the same side of things where it's just a matter of it is what it is, and we've got to do what we got to do. And again, I wouldn't suggest that I understand the Black experience. Like I'm a first generation American with an immigrant father, but even again, the idea that he's like, he brought that up when he and I were talking. He was like, immigrants can come and do that. I'm like, yeah, but immigrants there's already a qualifier to be in this country, whereas Black people, you're just born and you're here already, so it's not comparable. And he was like, that is a good point. And it's just an ongoing conversation. If we can get
Yeah.
people to better understand, then we just have to keep having the conversation.
And you know what? So I'm glad you said that. I okay. I understand what everybody goes through, right, wrong, or indifferent. And by me understanding that doesn't mean that I condone it. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
get that word misconstrued. Understanding is not that you accept it or you want it to happen, is that you understand why certain things happen for certain individuals or why things happen in the world. Like I understand why natural disasters happen. Part of the reason I started writing was because I wanted people to just have an understanding of the relationship balance, the business balance of what happens, and that a lot of this stuff is uncontrollable. But you can sway somebody's opinion about you after they speak to you. What I realized was when you speak to a person in person, like what we're doing now, you go, okay, well, through our direct messages, it was coming off different. Through the chat was coming off different. It was like, hey, you got a moment to talk because this isn't coming, this isn't well read right now. I think you need to
Mhm.
hear some examples. So when I started writing, I started realizing that let me write from a perspective where I'm being very clear and precise about what I'm saying, and that not everything's going to happen perfect for everyone. But we all experience some type of the same symptoms. You've had a cold before, I've had a cold before. Okay, we know what it feels like to have a cold.
Yeah.
You've had somebody turn you down. I had somebody turn me down. So it's like we go through the same thing, but we have this screwed up way of thinking that woe is me and I'm this person and it shouldn't happen to me. And it's like, man, that's what happens to a lot of people.
That's life.
That's life. And that's what a lot of people have to understand. Um, and and I listened to some of Dr. Evil's podcasts like that night, the Black Magic, was it Black Magic
Like
Hour?
Magic
Black Magic
Power
Power,
Hour, I
Black
think.
Magic Power. And I listened to Anna Roots. Um, I listened to his Indiegogo. And I'm gonna be honest with you. What I want to ask Anna Root is how much real world experience does he
Yes.
have?
Exactly. That is exact. You are. That's it. That's it. You nailed it. You hit the nail on
Yeah,
the head. He's a. We always talk about. He's very well read. He's a smart kid. But he's 21 years old. He's always been in school, and that's exactly it. He doesn't have any real world experience. Like everything he knows is from what he's learned from books.
right.
And he's only 21. That's perfectly fine,
Oh, I thought he was 30. 21 is even
right? So did
worse.
I.
I thought he was 30. Okay, so if he's 21, um, it would make no sense of me debating him because, well, not that this is any of my business, but if he's never been with at least one woman, he hasn't developed the swag enough to talk
Yes,
about the
we
emotional,
got to. Yes.
yeah, the emotional
I mean, I
intelligence
don't know
of,
how much, but he definitely has been at
right.
least one.
Right. The emotional intelligence to talk to me about what women kind of go through, really what masculinity is, right? Or even what femininity is. It's like you got to get a little bit more experience in talking to people and and when I say talking to people, I'm talking on a man talking to a woman, because as I was listening to him and I was like, what is he talking about? He's going in circles, and I was like,
Oh my
I was gonna
God.
ask you through DM.
This
I
is
was gonna be like, "Yo,
quickly.
did dude do X, Y, and Z yet?" Yeah. Did any, so, but yeah, I would, and respectfully, I will swallow him
Right.
whole in a debate because all he would do would come at me with numbers. But
Exactly.
I can dissect him by saying, "Listen, man, by the time I was 21, I was doing X, Y, and Z. You were still in there learning about books while I was out here doing this." Which is why what you're relating to doesn't make sense to me because you haven't done it. What makes an expert is a person who consistently tries to keep on doing it until they get it right.
Hmm.
And but I want to go back on one thing just real quick. I'm gonna let you have it. Uh, and Dr. Evil, I was listening to his podcast, and I find that what he's saying is very intriguing. It's a lot of shock value and a lot of it. I agree with a lot of the stuff they come from. I like the fact that he is trying to push the initiative for Black people to be acknowledged. But one thing I've learned in marketing, man, when it comes to Black people trying to market themselves and push themselves out there, is that we don't necessarily have to make people feel guilty for what they did to Black people. It's like just outdo somebody in a sense,
Yes.
and a lot of that research comes from, okay, well, how do I outdo this person meaning how do I outdo this company? You know, I'm competing with Mickey Mouse, man. You know how I feel about Mickey Mouse, man. I want to, you know,
I know you like that thumbnail.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah, man. What you're saying is like music to my ears, and you're absolutely right that it wasn't really coming through, in the chat and then through the DMs, and so I appreciate
yeah,
us having this chat, and
yeah,
that was what was frustrating in the stream with Dr. Evil Genius and with Anirudh is that Anirudh has all the numbers. He can pull up this study and that study and that study, and Dr. Evil Genius has his experience of being a black person, which I can't say anything against. I've never been a black person, and so I see the world a certain way, and I'm trying to take people's experience as for what it is, their experience, which is absolutely 100% real. But when they're telling me, things like that, on a philosophical question of, the individualist versus the collectivist, they're like, no, the numbers say it's about the community first. It's like, well, it doesn't work like that, bro.
yeah,
Like that's not how it's not that simple.
yeah,
And you could if you check the live stream that Darshaun and I or Anirudh and I did a couple months ago, that was at the core of every disagreement we had. It was just that he had some study that said XYZ, and I was like, okay, I feel like that makes sense, but you're missing the reality aspect of it, the in real life, the practical. It's all theoretical and hypothetical in your mind, and the fact that you brought it up without me saying that is it really must be the case. And again, I don't blame him because I was the same way when I was young and coming out of college, and especially I was just coming out of religion, and I was angry about that, and I wanted to tell everybody that I knew what was what and this, and so I don't blame him, but I feel as some because I think that he is more well read than I am. And so again, when I talk to him and he's got answers for these things, it makes me question myself. And which is fine. I relish that opportunity. But yeah, I mean, the way this conversation is going, I feel like I've been right the whole damn time.
yeah, yeah. No, listen, I'm very well read on a lot of people, and I said, let me check this podcast out, and I watched it, and I was like, okay, this guy seems like he knows nothing about life, and I'm like, we could have the discussion, but he's going to throw a lot of numbers at me. And here's what I learned about a person such as him. Whoever has been teaching him from a coaching aspect, if it deals with relationships or how to be a man, they will always tell you that your conversation can be backed up with facts, data, and statistics. Okay, that's fine. You'll always win a debate with that. But when you get into a real world experience, then that person wins the debate. So yes, I can back up with facts, stats, and whatever, but I also have real world experience, and I'm older than him. You see, and when you're just a little bit older than somebody, especially 21, anybody will tell you any 21-year-old just doesn't have it just yet.
It's just not there yet.
Yeah, you're just not there yet,
Brains
and it's
are totally developed.
yeah, and it's not your fault. It's just that you're young, So what you're saying is some of what you're saying is correct, but you come off as you're very naive to the potential of what's going to happen, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when and the only reason I'm bringing him up is because when you're trying to be a published author and you're talking about the greater man, what I want to say to him if he gets a chance to see this, I don't understand what his book is about. Because in his Indiegogo, I watched it twice and I was like, he didn't say anything. He didn't even talk about really like what his title was about. So I don't know if he had accomplished his goal. I don't know if the book is out, but I was like, that wouldn't be a book that I would read because he didn't sound like he knew what he was talking about. It sounds like he's trying to figure out what being masculine is. You have to sit down and figure out what is being a man, what is being a woman, what is femininity, what is masculinity. And to be honest with you, those definitions are very short and precise. And people are overdoing it. And this is why I'm successful in my own life. I'm not overdoing it. I'm not living outside of my means. People are trying to impress everybody and trying to relate so much. That's not your purpose.
Mm,
That's not your purpose. Your purpose isn't to relate to everyone. Your purpose is to get a understanding, and all things get an understanding, but not to wake up every day and try to relate to people, feel guilty that somebody didn't make it, or and woe is me, and oh, I didn't get. Listen, I've been trying to get in Walmart since I was like 24 years old. I didn't get in there until I was like 32. Wasn't my first time. I did it the right way all those other years, but I say, man, damn this. I gotta jump the line. So a lot of what I talk about is related in my own experience, and I'm successful in my own right. And that's what a lot of
exactly.
people have to understand. You have to become successful in your own eyes, not what the world sees. Just because, let me say this too, man. I want you to come in on this one. Just because I'm not living in a 20-bedroom home and have 20 Lamborghinis does not mean I'm successful. It means I'm not stupid to have 20 Lamborghinis in a 20-bedroom home knowing that I can't afford it. That's maintenance.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I live in a big enough house already where I'm like, I got toilets to clean and you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But people will make you think that, well, if you're not trying to become a billionaire, then what are you living for? That's not everybody's purpose. Everybody's purpose is not to become a billionaire. It's just simply that's just not it. Not everybody's purpose is even to become rich. Some people are their own purpose. They're trying to find out their own happiness. And then I'm gonna backtrack on something I said. Well, not really backtrack, just kind of go back. The way I got a great understanding about life was I took a United to End Racism, like a course, if you will. It's a company called United to End Racism. They're based out of Seattle. They should still be around. I realized that there were other ethnicities that had way more issues than I had as a black man. There were white people in that conference that were dealing with being ashamed of what their parents did, their ancestors did about slaving black people, than
Mhm.
than me thinking that, hey, I don't have an opportunity. And I had to sit down with these people and do therapy sessions with them, and they have to hold my hand. And I started realizing, I say, man, there are some people out here in the world that are dealing with stuff that I don't even know about. But in that time of being there through those weeks, I started realizing that, man, there's other people that got way different, deeper issues than me, man. From people messing with them when they were kids and people getting murdered and, all kind of stuff. I was like, yo, listen, I understand it, but that's not my fight. So that's
Right.
where my understanding of the world came from when I took a United to End Racism, like a conference. It was like this huge conference.
Yeah. And to that point, all of that, because those things are true, that when someone like me or a white person or anybody brings up that fact, it's never to, well, I don't want to say never, but when I say it, it's never to discount any of the things that black people do experience. It just seems like there's a concerted effort in society, whether you want to say it's from the government or the corporate or whatever,
Mm,
to make black people specifically feel the way that they are different and lower, and that it's now become accepted that we should be the opposite of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech, that be judged on the content of your character, not the color of your skin. When now everybody wants to say, well, this should be we're talking about racial equity, and
mm,
it's like I see where that's coming from, but I just don't think that's the right path.
yeah,
And to say that is racist,
yeah,
and that's the end of it. So
yeah. No, I
I
got you.
mean, yeah. I really appreciate you talking this out with me.
Yeah,
Especially if it was coming off like, what is this guy saying? I really do appreciate you having me on to talk about that. And I'm coming away with a better understanding. I'm coming away with a better understanding to bring forth to other people who I'm going to be in conversation with. And I think that's all that we can do.
yeah.
One conversation at a time.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I just wanted to clarify. that I wasn't, focused on racism in approach, like, in approaching life, but
Mhm.
I know you were like, that wasn't in our conversation. I was like, oh,
Right.
he don't understand. But see, again, there was a code. There was a
Mhm.
lingo between Dr. Evil and I, where he understands the opportunity in which business presents itself. So that's something that I was understanding with him. But as far as our conversation, there was I did say some underlining things in there, but what I'm trying to say is my primary focus wasn't racism. Like, oh, because I'm black, they
Right.
don't have this. And I was like, you guys don't have enough. Like, put me in the game,
Mhm.
coach,
And
type of
so
deal. But
and
go ahead,
yeah,
go ahead.
and so it's like the idea that being black presents issues, that can be true, and also that you have agency to overcome those obstacles.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people don't feel like both of those things can be true. That either black people are oppressed and doomed to forever, or black people are just as equal, and everybody's is at the exact same starting line. It's like, regardless of race, everybody is different.
yeah,
And yes, there are things that may affect black people more. There may be things that affect men more. There may be things that affect women more. There may be things that affect short people. And it's all different. And it's a narrative that hyper focuses, in my opinion, on the black experience, because it turns into something where they can feed the solution to the problem that they've created.
right.
And it just seems it seems sad when and I don't mean to talk down on anyone, but it seems sad if you feel that you are living in a society of other human beings and you feel legitimately that you are lesser than. I don't think that is a message that should come from anything that has to do with being American or being a patriot or any of that. I feel like that is antithetical to what America stands for, even if it didn't always look the right way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me ask you this, and I'm gonna let you go. And Ruth, is he saying that, like, all black people have the short end of the stick? Is that his basis?
I guess I mean I the idea is the idea I think that he subscribes to is just that because of things like redlining and Jim Crow and slavery, that black people are at such a disadvantage that we, as the rest of people, need to do something to correct that. And I'm sure you've heard of the concept of the bigotry of low expectations.
Hmm.
And I feel like that is just a typical left wing opinion on race. Is just that, well, black people are lesser than, so we need to help them. And it's like, I don't believe that, and I think that is more racist than saying no. If some asshole is not going to give you a job for XYZ, then you go and get another job. Somebody didn't give me a job because I had tattoos. Somebody didn't give me a job because I was they my last name sounds Jewish, and I showed up and I had brown skin, and they, yeah, you could see it. The guy was
Right,
Jewish, you could see it. But like, that shit happens.
right. Yeah.
I just don't
I,
understand how you can build a worldview around that.
no, I got you. I see where you're coming from now. So I understand everybody, but what I would encourage with anyone, just like that company I just told you about, United to End Racism, just real quickly, when I took that course and went to those conferences, changed my life. I became the best person I knew how to be. I became more successful after that. That was the whole point of taking that, going to that conference, was to, in a roundabout way, if I could sum it up in a few words, is to mind your own business, right? You do your thing, you do your part. Keep your opinions and your differences about other people to yourself. And in that, when you go to different corporations, if people were to take this course or this conference, they would then realize that, okay, I'm just going to view this person as the person that's in front of me. I'm not going to have my difference of opinions. I'm just going to focus on what they're talking about and judge that person by their character towards me, you know. But yeah, man, Lutch, I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna leave this up. This was good talk. Thank you
Please
for
do,
the
yeah.
impromptu-ness. I really appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you, man, and I appreciate you being willing to let me talk this out, even if I don't always have the best way to say it. I appreciate you understanding that I'm coming from the right place, and that I'm just trying to have everybody get along.
And you make sure you tell your dad I am a lot smarter than he think I am, you know.
I did. I was like, hey, whoa, don't come on now. Don't even do. And I was like, listen, I could look down on you for still being a Christian, being an atheist, but that's wrong and not helpful. And even though I think that your beliefs are incorrect, that's not how that works. And so I gave him his piece for that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And he agreed. He was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And so don't be too hard on him.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, man. I appreciate you, man. Hope we catch up sometime soon.
Definitely. We'll have to do something a little more established. But I really appreciate this.
Well, whenever you want to do that debate thing, just let me know and I'll get myself ready.
I mean, and when I say debate, we don't necessarily need to be like, okay, here's the prompt, and are you for or are you against? More of just, I mean, unless you want to, we could definitely go down that road for sure. But more of just a conversation, because you are right. You would, be able to talk circles around him just from life experience. But as he is somebody that I think is probably going to have some type of government job in the next 10, 15, 20 years. And if I can have an influence on him to be less of this completely stuck in a book mentality, then he is a good dude, and he just got some things a little prematurely arrogant about.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. You have a great night. I really appreciate it, and appreciate all your work.
All right, man. I appreciate you too, man.
Take care.
See ya.